Hi, my name is Mike Aben, and welcome to Children of a Dead Earth, the most realistic space combat game ever. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it like that because that's the way they advertise it, and actually, I can't think of anything that's close. What this game tries to do is to do space combat, but keeping all the technology reasonable and keeping all the physics real, or as real as they can. And what I want to do with this particular series is run through these campaigns. You can see I've gone through some of them, but there's still quite a lot more to do. And what I'm going to be doing is trying to get gold on all of them. There's this one here I've been struggling a little bit with. I've left it behind. We'll see if we'll get back to that. But I'm going to try at least do as well as I can on all of them and share how to do it with you. So we'll start with the very first mission here, this distress call to Luna. Refuel a cargo freighter orbiting Luna with a with a ruptured fuel tank, and then rendezvous it with a space station. So this is about practicing the orbital maneuvering that is in the game, the orbiting maneuvering mechanic. In order to achieve a gold rating, what you need to do is break these records that are over here on the right. And this I found frustrating at first. I don't think this is at all obvious, and I spent some time fighting with this mission over and over and over again before I realized you don't have to do them both at the same time in the same playthrough. You can do them separately. And for this mission, I really don't see how to do them both at the same time. If there's somebody out there that can do one play and get both of these two records, well, I'd love to see that. But anyway, our records are we have to do this in under 12 hours and 14 minutes. And the second record, we'll do it separately, is to do this spending less than 1.08 kilometers per second at delta V. And in fact, I'll do the efficient one first. I'm going to do this one first, do it in less than that, and then I'll show you how to do it speedily. So let's start the mission here, and we're not going to read all this. We're just going to get straight into the mission. And what we're also going to be doing is ignoring all these tutorials. The kind of unfortunate thing is that I can't get this window to go away. In some of the later missions, there's this dismiss tutorials button that I'll take advantage of. So we're going to have to just put up with this box here. But I do want to take a look at Earth, which is what it wants us to do. So there's Earth over there. We're going to select it, select Earth, and then we're going to zoom in on it. And yeah, this is Earth. It's not called Children of a Dead Earth with no reason. That looks not very healthy to me. And I don't know, I don't think the game really gets into what the exact events were that led to this, our nice blue ball turning into this ugly sort of beige orangey ball. However, given our behavior in this game of shooting at anything that oh my gosh, there we go. Go away. We're done. Okay. Shooting at anything that moves that isn't us, I suspect, yeah, that was probably our fault back there. Anyway, let's get to the mission. So our mission is to rescue this ship that's up here. This is a cargo freighter. We'll take a look at it. You can see here that the ships are minimalistic, I guess is what you go. They're not designed for beauty, they're designed for functionality. So we have a whole lot of propellant tanks here. Methane in this particular case. We have nuclear-powered engines at the back. We have some radiators here to radiate the heat away with nuclear reactors on board. Generating electricity is not an issue, so you don't see solar panels typically on these things. And then there's some crew compartments up at the front here, which I assume are also command and control and all that kind of stuff. And there it is. That's the ship. So let's get back and get to us. We're down here. There are two ships down here, a capital fleet. Let's take a look at it. Zoom in. So this is our ship that we're going to take out to refuel it. It's our tanker. You can see sort of the same sort of basic design idea. And this is the methane depot, the space station, essentially, which is not much more than a whole lot of tanks. You can't move around. It doesn't have engines on it. So let's refuel us. Now, there's no sort of docking mechanic here. It kind of just assumes these two are connected, I guess. And so you just click here, and we start refueling our tanker. And if we go to the back button, it actually refuels instantly. We don't have to wait for this bar to come up, which is nice. But what I want to do before that, because I'm not going to fly the station, is I just want to split this ship off from the fleet, this tanker, which is us here. I want to split that off from the fleet. That's done using this button right here. So we're going to split that off from the fleet. So we're only going to be flying it. So there we are. There is our ship, our large methane tanker. And what we want to do is we want to get it up to here. So let's take a look at the maneuvering mechanics. So we will click here to begin a trajectory, and it gives us these 3 pull handles for the 3 different axes that we can push our trajectory in. The one you'll be using the most is this red one, the tangential one. If you push it inwards, because our ship right now is moving in that direction, right? This is the direction our ship is moving, along this red axis here. So if we grab this and push it this way, what we're doing is we're increasing our velocity. We're burning in the direction we're already going, and increasing our velocity, you can see, raises our trajectory. If we burn the other way, burning backwards or retrograde, most people that know that type of vocabulary, we are slowing ourselves down, and you can see our velocity is also slowing down, and it can slow down to the point where we crash into the moon, which obviously we don't want to do. So let's get rid of that. Put another one there. All right, the other 2 axes. This guy here is our radial axis. It points towards the center of whatever body it is that you are orbiting. If we pull it towards, you can see that it. Well, actually, let's pull, because sometimes here I know what we'll do. Sometimes when people get started with these types of games, they say, well, if I want to get from here to here, I should just burn straight that direction. So I think I should just use this. But you can see that this doesn't work. You know, it more kind of, let's just go this way. Stop there. It more kind of twists and turns the trajectory rather than actually gets you going that way. Because remember, we're already moving in this direction at quite a bit of velocity already. This is the velocity that we're adding, this orange arrow. So the end result is we kind of go off in this direction and just kind of turn our trajectory rather than kind of go straight that direction. Now, having said that, if you want to do this quickly, this radial component actually becomes really important, but we're not going to use it too much here. So again, we'll delete this. We'll get started with now taking a look at the blue axis. The blue axis is the out of plane, right? It's perpendicular to our orbit. And just to show you what it does, if I start pulling this way, we're adding velocity in this direction, and our orbit is starting to twist. It goes our orbit that way. So we are getting our orbit to change its plane, right? The thing is our orbit was already in the plane of the orbit, our target orbit, so there's no reason for us to change our plane, so we're certainly not going to do that. In fact, to do this efficiently, all we're going to do is use this one. So we're going to start off by burning in a prograde or forward direction and raising our trajectory to the point where it intersects with our target's orbit. Ooh, let's come back a little bit. Went a little too far. There we go. That looks pretty good. And you can see when we get there that we get this little planet icon, which gives us an option to match orbits with our target. And in fact, that's what the tutorial is going to get us to do, which we're going to completely ignore. We can now match orbit with our target, which will put us into the same orbit. Here's the issue, though. When we're here, our target, you can see it showed it, is over around here somewhere. I'll do it again. See if you look right here, you'll see that that's where the icon goes. So when we get here, which is in 5 hours and 59 minutes, our target's going to be nowhere near us. And then we're going to have to perform a further burn to match up with our target. Well, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is figure out how we can get up here at the same moment that our target gets here. So here's what we do. I'm going to follow my trajectory forward in time, right? And you can see that what I want you to keep an eye on is our target right here, and watch how it moves. It's starting about here. Okay. It's starting about here, and as I move towards here, it's ending about there. So it's going from here to about here, about a third of the way, I would say, around its orbit. So if I want to match up to the target at the time I get up here, what I have to do is burn at the appropriate time so that I will it will be there when I get there. In other words, I got to be about a third ahead of it. If that makes sense. Okay? So, what I want to do is I'm going to delete this one. We're not going to do that. And we're going to look at how far forward we need to be so that we end up being about a third ahead of it or a third behind it, actually, is what we're going to want to be when we get there. And so far, not there, not there. Getting close around here. I still say I'm not quite there yet, but then I run out of trajectory space. But there's this little plus button. A little plus button there, a little blue plus button right there that allows us to extend our trajectory further. So I'm going to push extend trajectory. And we're going to go a little further. Whoops, can't see him. And right about there, maybe? I would say maybe I'm about a third. I think so. Let's sort of give it a go right here. Again, none of this is permanent, so we're going to create a trajectory there. And what we're going to get is burn forward. And if this doesn't work, you just try again. It's not like it's a big deal. And oh, that's a good sign. You can see there we're getting a set of green kind of arrows there. That's an indication that we can join the fleet. But what I want to do is I want to push that. I just find it's more efficient if you get it to the point where your trajectory actually matches with the trajectory of your target. Oh, now it's starting to move away a little bit. My timing's not perfect. I think it's good enough. I'm going to go with it right about there. Okay, so we're going to click on this. And that is going to be, yeah, and then we're going to have the option to join with the freighter. And so now it performs, and automatically it calculates this burn for us in a series of matching velocity burns so that we will be matching with it in, well, according up here, 13 hours and 21 minutes we will join to it. The total cost of this is 0.43 or 430 meters per second, which is still well less than the 1.08 kilometers per second. Now remember, we still have to get back, but this should be fine. It should actually be cheaper going back. So yeah, this is going to be good. So what we're going to, actually no, it costs the same going back. What am I even thinking about? So anyway, this is going to take, what's it going to take? 13 hours. So let's increase, we're going to do a turn, but we're going to do 6 hours per turn. So let's run a turn. There we go. We just did an orbit. We haven't even done our burn yet. Our burn location is right here. We'll do another one. There we go. Now we're getting in close, so we'll go down to an hour turn. And there we are. We have joined successfully. So now we have ourselves a new fleet. Let's examine that. This is the cargo freighter that we need to refuel. And this is us having spent hardly any of the monstrous amount of fuel that we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to start refueling the cargo freighter. As you can see here, we're going to split off the cargo freighter because our mission is to get that back to the station. Select him, go back. And now we got to do this in reverse. We got to get from here back to here. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set up a trajectory. We're going to burn now in a retrograde or backwards direction to bring down our trajectory to the point where it meets the orbit over there. Again, we're getting a little bit of a planet icon. We can join orbits, but that's not what I want to do. And you can see, you know, I'm a little bit ahead of it, right? So if I do this a little bit later, maybe about here, let's see how that works. Do this in about there. Try there. See how that works. And sometimes this takes a little bit of playing about. Get it to the point where you can see it. Oh, there I can see now my little green crosshair, or little green arrow guide allowing me to match trajectories. I'm going to click that, join with the ship. All told, this is going to take me 490 meters per second, or 0.49 kilometers per second. Still, we are underneath what we need to do, so that is groovy doobie. So again, it's going to take us how long? 7 hours. So let's do a 6-hour turn. There we go, and do a 1-hour turn. Almost there. And we are done. So we did this in 20 hours, which is what we did it underneath the requirement that we needed to do. So there we go. That's gold now for fuel. So let's restart the mission and do this fast. And by fast too, I'm not going to talk so much about this stuff anymore. I'm just going to flat out do it. So we go to here. Do this quickly. All right, we pick our depot. We start the refueling process. Yeah, it's refueling. Split that off, select our tanker, go back, and now we're going to do another trajectory adjustment, and this time we are going to burn straight out at it like that. And again, fuel be damned, we have tons of fuel. Here we go. Now, we are getting out to here, but you can see it's really over here, right? By the time we get there, it's there. So what we need to do is bring our trajectory more this way. So we're going to use this to burn this way. Oh, I can see an option there, but I can do better than that. Whoops. Put that back. We can do better than that. This way. Burn back out that way. And this is, I consider, kind of crazy. But look, we're hardly using up any of our fuel. It's not like this is costing a huge amount. Let's go back this way. We're actually reversing our course here a little bit. Let's pull it way out. Oh, let's see what that's like. And we're going to join in 2 hours. We got to do this in 12 hours, so 2 hours feels good to me. Let's join with the cargo freighter. All told, this is going to take 4 hours. That is fine. So again, we are getting there in nice time. So let's start doing this. Do our burns to match velocity, and point. We are there. Again, same thing. Select that. Select our tanker, begin the refueling process, go to this guy, split him off, back to here. Now we got to get him back to the station. We're going to do this same idea. We're going to burn straight down at the station. Alright. See, we're crossing orbit about here, but you can see he's way over that way, so we need to come more this way. And this is a definite fuel be damned type of situation. The matching velocities is going to be interesting here because he's coming this way and we're going that way. we're kind of a collision course here, but that's okay. Let's see if we can maybe calm this down a little bit. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. What happens if we batch velocities here? Join. Yeah, we got to do some pretty crazy burns. That's going to cost us way too much, so we don't have the fuel to do that. Okay, so let's delete that. That's not a little bit trickier. Let's delete this whole thing. Let's try and match with them about here. Let's see. Burn this way. Burn this way. Can't quite do the whole like matching at this. Gotta slow ourselves down a little bit. The orbits aren't this. Having done these missions more than once, I'm noticing that the starting positions are not always the same, so you have to deal with different situations each time. And this one, you know what? I got the time. I think. Let's try something a little different. That and that. Where is he by the time he gets there? Oh, it's getting closer. Let's slow ourselves down a bit more by going this way. So we're giving ourselves a bit of an arc trajectory to get to there. Still meeting him in 3 hours, but now we're sort of more or less going in the same directions, not 180 degrees to each other when we meet. Okay, that's going to take us 4 hours. It's still less than what's the required amount of time, so it's still going to work. All right, boom, boom. A whole lot of crazy burns, and there we go. We did it. So we did it in 8 hours and 45 minutes, less than our record. You can see not than my best, but like I said, I had a really nice return when I got my best one. And that's it. So there we go. There's how to get gold on the very first mission. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you for the next one.